Watson Thinks Like a Pig by DiCamillo.
Yes, Mercy Watson thinks like a pig. I wonder how that's different.
Because she is a pig.
Yeah, but they think she's thinks more human. It's right.
Yeah.
All right, let's figure out how it's different this time. Mr. Watson and Mrs. Watson have a pig named Mercy. Mr. Watson, Mrs. Watson, and Mercy live together in a house at 54 Deckawoo Drive. One day, Mr. Watson and Mrs. Watson and Mercy were sitting on their patio. Mr. Watson and Mrs. Watson and Mercy were drinking lemonade. Mr. Watson said, "Mrs. Watson, this lemonade makes my lips feel puckery." "I put an awful lot of lemons in it," said Mrs. Watson. "That explains it," said Mr. Watson. Mercy slurped some lemonade from her bowl. "Isn't it a beautiful day?" said Mrs. Watson. "Absolutely beautiful," said Mr. Watson. Mercy grunted. Chapter 2. Next door to the Watsons, Baby Lincoln and Eugenia Lincoln were standing in their front yard. "Baby," said Eugenia, "we live next door to a pig." "Yes, sister," said Baby, "we do. But that does not stop us from living a gracious life," said Eugenia. "It doesn't," said Baby. Eugenia handed Baby a shovel. "What's this for?" said Baby. "We are going to beautify our yard," Eugenia said. "We are going to plant pansies. You, Baby, will dig, and I, Eugenia, will plant." "Yes, sister," said Baby. "We will lead a gracious life, even if it kills us," said Eugenia Lincoln. "Yes, sister," Baby sighed. She began to dig. Chapter 3. On the Watsons' patio, Mercy put her snout up in the air. She sniffed. There was a delightful smell coming from next door. Mercy pushed her snout through the hedge. She looked into the Lincoln sisters' yard. She saw Eugenia Lincoln put a flower in the ground. "What is going on?" When she had eaten the whole flower, she looked up and saw another flower. What is Mercy eating?
Number 2.
Yeah, the flowers they planted, huh? She ate that one too. Mercy burped. She moved on to flower number 3. Whew. Chapter 4. On the other side of the house, Eugenia Lincoln planted her last pansy. "There," said Eugenia. "It looks spectacular, doesn't it?" "It does," said Baby. "I believe I will go around front and admire the overall effect," said Eugenia. Eugenia Lincoln went around front. But there was no overall effect to admire. "Baby!" screamed Eugenia. "Yes, sister," said Baby. "Where have all the flowers gone?" shouted Eugenia. "Oh, dear," said Baby. "They were just here a minute ago." Mercy came around the corner. There was a spring in her step. There were pansy petals on her chin. "Ooh." "Pig!" shouted Eugenia. "Pig, pig, pig!" Eugenia Lincoln ran toward Mercy. Mercy kicked up her heels, and she ran away from Eugenia. Woo! Chapter 5. Meanwhile, back on the Watsons' patio, the Watsons were wondering where Mercy had gone. "She was here just a minute ago," said Mrs. Watson. She couldn't have gone far," said Mr. Watson. Mr. Watson and Mrs. Watson went looking for Mercy. "Oh," said Mrs. Watson, "there she is. And look, she's playing a game of tag with Eugenia. They look so happy." Do you think they're playing tag, Apollo?
No, Eugenia's angry at.
Yeah, angry at Mercy. "I don't think that sister is playing," said Baby. "And I don't think the sister is happy." "She's not," said Mr. Watson. No, said Baby, she's not. Mercy ate every one of Sister's pansies. She must have been hungry, said Mrs. Watson. Mercy, Mrs. Watson called, come inside and have a little toast with a great deal of butter on it. Mercy came running. She came running quickly. Mercy loved toast. She particularly loved toast with a great deal of butter on it. Chapter 6. Baby Lincoln was correct. Eugenia Lincoln was not happy. I have had it, said Eugenia. I have been pushed too far. Oh, dear, said Baby. I am ready to take extreme measures, said Eugenia Lincoln. Extreme measures? Said Baby. I am calling animal control, said Eugenia. Oh, sister, no, said Baby. Oh, sister, yes, said Eugenia. She got out the phone book. She ran her finger down the page. Oh, please, sister, said Baby. Eugenia stabbed a number with her finger. Here we go, she said. Oh, sister, please think about what you are doing, said Baby. I know exactly what I am doing, said Eugenia. I'm kissing that pig goodbye. Dun, dun, dun.
That's Dad.
Yeah. Chapter 7. The phone rang at Animal Control Center. Animal Control Officer Francine Poulet answered. Help you? Said Francine Poulet. Yes, said the voice on the other end of the line. I am calling to report an animal desperately in need of control. Who would that be, Apollo?
Mercy.
Oh, yeah. Got yourself a rabid dog? Said Francine. Well, no, said the voice on the other end. A stray cat? Certainly not, said the voice. A raccoon in your trash can? No. A squirrel in your chimney? I think not. A snake in your toilet? I beg your pardon, said Eugenia. Well, let me think, said Francine Poulet. It's not a dog or a cat, it's not a raccoon or a squirrel, and it's definitely not a snake. What could it be? Wait a minute, said Francine. You're not dealing with a skunk, are you? What I'm dealing with is a pig! A pig? A pig! Give me the address, said Francine Poulet. 54 Decawoo Drive, said the voice. Chapter 8. At 54 Decawoo Drive, Mercy was on the couch, taking an after-toast nap. She was snorting. What a peaceful afternoon, said Mrs. Watson. Indeed, said Mr. Watson. Knock, knock, knock. Someone is at the back door, said Mrs. Watson. I'll get it, said Mr. Watson. He went into the kitchen. Come in, Baby, said Mr. Watson. I can't, said Baby. Something terrible is going to happen. It is? An unmentionable horror approaches. It does? Oh, Mr. Watson, said Baby. Lincoln, you must protect her. Protect her? Said Mr. Watson. Protect who? Baby threw herself into Mr. Watson's arms. She began to cry. There, there, said Mr. Watson. Mrs. Watson came into the kitchen. What is going on? She said. It seems an unmentionable horror is approaching, said Mr. Watson. Oh, dear, said Mrs. Watson. I have always been terribly afraid of unmentionable horrors. What will we do? There, there, said Mr. Watson. I am sure we will think of something. Chapter 9. Mercy was still on the living room couch. Knock, knock, knock. She opened one eye. Mercy opened both eyes. The Watsons' front door swung open. Mercy, said Stella. We are having a tea party, and you are invited. Mercy yawned. I don't think she's interested, said Frank. There will be pieces of cake and ice cream puffs and cheese toast, said Stella. Mercy sat up. Actually, she was interested. There will be eclairs and pancakes and enchiladas, said Stella. Mercy was now very interested. But, said Stella, if you come to the tea party, you won't have to wear a hat. Everybody at a proper tea party wears a hat, or you will have to wear a hat. Everybody at a proper tea party wears a hat. Mercy thought about hats. She thought about food. She got off the couch. She followed Frank and Stella out the front door. Chapter 10.
To be outside.
Oh, it might not. Yeah, it might not be. We'll see. Animal Control Officer Francine Poulet on her way to 54 Decawu Drive. Francine, she said to herself, you've never encountered a pig before. This is a career-expanding opportunity. This is a new opportunity. At the corner of Greek and Wendigo, Francine spotted a dog. She stopped the truck. Hello, little friend, said Francine Poulet. Are you lost? Arf, said the dog. Just as I suspected, said Francine. No tags. Hop in. On Merkle Street, a golden retriever stepped right in front of Animal Control Officer Francine Poulet. Tisk, tisk, said Francine Poulet. Foolish dog. She stopped the truck. She got out. Quick like a bunny, said Francine Poulet to the golden retriever. The golden retriever hopped in. Francine, said Francine Poulet, you are the best animal control officer in the history of animal control. Nothing can stop you, not even a pig. Chapter 11. By the time Francine Poulet turned on to Decawu Drive, her truck was full of dogs. To catch a pig, said Francine, what I need to do is think like a pig. The dogs in the back of the truck howled. Think like a pig, said Francine Poulet. She saw a man and a woman running down the street. Excuse me, said Francine, have you seen a pig? We have lost her, said the woman. Lost who? Said Francine. Mercy, said the man. Oh, our darling, our dear, she is in great danger. An unmentionable horror approaches, said the woman. An unmentionable horror? Said Francine Poulet. Exactly, said the man. All righty then, said Francine. Thank you very much. She rolled up her window. You are on your own here, Francine said, Francine Poulet. The locals are as crazy as loons. The dog in the back of the truck just barked and growled. I know, Francine told them. Think like a pig. Chapter 12. Mercy was wearing a hat. She was watching Stella pour imaginary tea. She was watching Stella slice imaginary cake. Mercy was not having a good time. Where were the enchiladas and the cream puffs? Mercy's stomach growled. Gurgle, 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 gurgle. Where were the pancakes and eclairs? Would you like some more? Said Stella. Some more of what? Mercy wondered. She snorted. Isn't this lovely? Said Stella. I don't think Mercy is happy, said Frank. Everybody is always happy at a tea party, said Stella. I'm not happy, said Frank. I'm hungry. Plus, I look stupid in this hat. Oh, please, said Stella. Here, have some more cake. Chapter 13. Animal Control Officer Francine Poulet was scouting the backyards of Decawu Drive. She leaped over hedges. She crept through flower beds. She thought piggy thoughts. She climbed a tree and surveyed the yard below her. She saw 3 people wearing hats. She saw 3 people sitting at a table having tea. Isn't that nice? Said Francine Poulet. Isn't that sweet? Francine looked more closely. Wait a minute, she said. One of those people is not a person. One of those people is a pig! Francine, you have located the pig! You are the best animal control officer in the history of the world! And now you must capture that pig! On the count of 3. 1, 2... Francine Poulet closed her eyes. She leapt from the tree. 3! Chapter 14. Mercy decided that she had more than enough of nothing, so she stood up. She was going home. Suddenly, there was a high-pitched yell. A woman fell from the sky and landed headfirst on the tea table. Boing! Thud. Stella screamed, "Ah!" Frank screamed louder, "Oh!" Mercy screamed the loudest. One street over, Mr. Watson said to Mrs. Watson, "Do you hear what I hear?" "That is our darling," said Mrs. Watson. That is our dear, and she is in trouble." Mr. Watson and Mrs. Watson started to run. Chapter 15. Animal Control Officer Francine Poulet rolled off the table. She wrapped her arms around Mercy. "Think like a pig," said Francine. Mr. Watson and Mrs. Watson came running into the backyard. "You found her," said Mrs. Watson. "You are our hero," said Mr. Watson. "You landed right directly on top of your head," said Frank. "I do feel a little woozy," said Francine. "Maybe you're just hungry," said Mrs. Watson. "Maybe you need some toast." "Toast?" said Francine. "Toast," thought Mercy. "These dogs look hungry too," said Mrs. Watson. "Would you fellows like some toast?" I wonder if this is a good idea," said Francine Poulet, as she let the dogs out of the back of the truck. Do you think that was a good idea?
No.
She let all the dogs out?
Yeah, who let the dogs out?
Who let the dogs out? Good job. I think that she hit her head a little too hard. What do you think? Yeah? "It's a wonderful idea," said Mrs. Watson. "Now, Stella, run next door and invite Eugenia and Baby to our small celebration. Tell them it is in honor of..." Mr. Watson turned to Francine. "What is your name, my dear?" "My name is Animal Control Officer Francine Poulet," said Francine, "and I've been trying to think like a pig." "Well," said Mr. Watson, "not just anybody can think like a pig. Not just anybody can be a porcine wonder." "I guess not," said Francine. "You keep trying, dear," said Mrs. Watson. "In the meantime, let's all go have some toast." And that's exactly what they all did. Lots and lots of toast with lots and lots of butter on it. Every porcine wonder was once a piglet. Did you know that, Apollo? There might be some Mercy Watson piglet stories. Dun dun dun! Well, that was number 5. Number 6 will be on our read list soon, and that will be Mercy Watson, Something Wonky This Way Comes. Can you wait to read it, Apollo?
No, because I'm just going to have another series back today.
Woohoo! All right, say adios. Adios.